Ahoy! Joe Buddy Hambone here, and I'm back again to talk about our good pals over at Noble Knight Games, who are having a massive holiday sale, and it's going on right now and running through Cyber Monday. There are over 700,000 items marked down right now, and I guarantee there's something there that you've been looking for, and it's probably on sale. So get on down to nobleknight.com and check out this sale. They're offering free shipping on all USA orders over $149, and if you're on your phone, they've updated their website. It's even easier to shop from your phone when you're pretending to be working, especially if you're working from home. So definitely swing on over to Noble Knight Games and check out their massive holiday sale, rocking and rolling all the way through Cyber Monday. Noble Knight is everybody's local store because you can access it online. And it's also great because you are still shopping small while keeping yourself safe and shopping at home for this holiday season. So definitely think about checking out the Noble Knight holiday sale. And while you're at it, I know you're probably sitting there in your house going, I have this book or this game or these magic cards and they're just sitting here and collecting dust. Well, why not actually turn it into some money? Because Noble Knight has a killer trading program. Definitely check into their website and learn more about that. In the meantime, it's the holiday season. Treat yourself, your friends and family, to something delightful over at Noble Knight Games. Massive holiday sale happening right now from today running through Cyber Monday. So swing on by to nobleknight.com.
This is the Vintage RPG Podcast, your source for the best in classic and contemporary RPGs. With your hosts, Hambone and Stu.
Welcome to the Vintage RPG Podcast, coming at you again from the clubhouse, hidden somewhere in the swamps of New Jersey. I'm John Hambone McGuire, and with me, as always, is the editor-in-chief of Unwinnable.com. He's in the Christmas spirit. You just can't tell because we have to record these things separately. Stu Horvath.
You know, I was looking at old photos of myself. I was looking for, we needed something for the kid for daycare, and, they're doing a family project with photos. And I was looking at all these photos from like a couple years ago, and my beard was black. And it's not black anymore. I'm not sure whose fault that is. If it's your fault, if it's Vintage RPG in general's fault, if it's the kid's fault. It's somebody's fault, though. I'm not taking the blame.
I think we could just call it 2020's fault and be content with that.
I wasn't going to go for the obvious, but...
Hey, man, 2020 is turning everyone's beard gray and white this year. Speaking of people with gray and white beards, Santa Claus, should you believe in him, or Satan Claus, is coming to town. And this year, we decided that instead of doing the traditional holiday gift guide that we've normally been doing, Stu and I are like, it might be cool to hear some other voices for this holiday gift guide. So we have 3 very special guests, not the ghost of Christmas present, past, and future, but some friends like Matt from Exalted Funeral, Jess from Noble Knight Games, and Josh Look calling in from the It Came From the Tabletop podcast to talk about board games and to talk about what's happening in new in the world of RPGs. So before we bring them on, Stu, do you have anything that you want for this holiday season? Have you been a good boy this year?
I think so. I wear my mask when I'm out in public, and, I'm polite. I think I deserve some presents. You can send cash to.
Yeah, we're not giving out our cash apps here, folks.
Oh.
In the meantime, though, Stu, anything cool on your radar?
So the thing about Christmas is I love Christmas, and I love the spirit of giving and togetherness and all that stuff. But I also kind of the older I get, the more I wonder why we don't kind of keep Christmas in our hearts year round. Why do we just reserve being nice to each other one day out of the year, at the end of the year of all times? So because of that, this is a way for you to spread joy throughout the year, because most of the books that I think that y'all will be interested in are coming out next year.
This is true.
This is a publisher called Strange Attractor Press. I recently learned about them, and they're sort of an academic publisher, but they have so many cool and interesting books coming out soon. I think the one that is on everybody's radar at the moment really is Appendix N, which is an anthology, a fiction anthology, edited by Peter Bevergall. The idea is to just kind of get some of the short fiction and excerpts from Appendix N in one place so that you can kind of dip into it and get a feel for what Gary Gygax's Appendix N and Dungeon Master's Guide. But they also have a book called Grimdark, A Very British Hell, coming out next year. Obviously, is going to be about Games Workshop's history. Y'all know I like heavy metal and I like weird occult stuff and I like RPGs. So if I'm like, yeah, this place is like a weird synthesis of those 3 things, you'll probably find something that you like. And I think that you should go Christmas shopping there for whenever these books come out. You should just treat yourself to a Christmas gift in May or whatever.
I like Christmas in May. I like Christmas in July.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Halloween guy myself, but nonetheless, I can really get behind this notion.
Why wait till Halloween?
I know. I keep Halloween in my heart all year round. Listen, I'm a spooky kid. I like weird stuff. So speaking of cool, weird stuff, there is a company called Severed Books, and I have been following them for a while. Justin over there is a pretty cool dude, and they make a lot of fun stuff. Like earlier this year, I bought the Headlopper dice set from them. I also bought the giant gelatinous cube dice that they just recently kickstarted it, and now I'm just waiting it to be delivered to my greedy little hands because I love gelatinous cubes so much. But they also put out like cool stuff like t-shirts that are very like, you know, Master of Dungeons, except it's like the Master of Puppets logo. Satanic Panic t-shirts that are specifically with the second edition kind of font on them. They've got DM screens. They've got other kinds of dice as well. They've got dice that are F yeah dice. We don't work blue on this show, but you can imagine where the F is and where the F goes, and that's certainly on the 1. Yeah is on the 20, and it's cool gifts that you could pick up. You know, if you're looking to get a cool stocking stuffer for someone, if you're looking to get some cool dice for yourself, something that really brings a certain panache to the table, I would highly recommend checking out what Severed Books has to offer. They're also the ones who most recently brought us the Tomb of the Lost Chimera, the Dead Milkman RPG, which is so awesome. So, you know, there's a lot of cool little shops out there that I think that if people took a little time and kind of goofed around on the internet a little bit, you could find and support some amazing small businesses when it comes to buying your dice. Everyone should have a dice guy. Everyone should have a dice guy. My dice guy for the longest time was my mom, and she'd buy me like a pound of dice. However, I have been searching high and low for the last several years and trying to find cool, fun new dice that I could buy for myself and dice that I could give as gifts as well. So definitely check that out. Lots of cool places to shop, and no better time to shop small than the holiday season. And speaking of shopping small, we think it's time that you met our friend Matt from Exalted Funeral. He's got a lot of cool things on the menu, so dig in. Hey, Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys.
So for those who may not be familiar with Matt, Matt is Exalted Funeral, and Matt is single-handedly responsible for all of my friends spending all of their money every single month on RPGs.
Sorry, guys.
Nothing to be sorry about. You put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces. And for those people listening at home who might not be familiar with Exalted Funeral, Matt, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about Exalted?
That's always a super fun question, because what is Exalted Funeral? It's our web store publishing company of pretty much just super weird indie, a lot of DIY tabletop RPG products, and a smattering of other stuff that I find interesting, but mainly tabletop role-playing games.
Very cool. I've often likened Exalted Funeral as like the record store that you've always wanted to go to, where everything is super cool and super curated, and you know you're going to walk out of there with something really exciting. And I've not been let down yet. No matter what I've seen pop through your store, there's always fun and interesting things, and really something for everybody in every kind of RPG taste. Why don't you tell some of our listeners about some of the cool stuff you have there, and maybe give them some inspirato for gifts to give during this holiday season?
That's a high praise there. Thank you. You know, that's what we kind of strive for. And that's part of the reason we started the whole thing in general, is to have all these great creators have an outlet for their products and things that they created. Because basically at the start of the whole shebang, everybody was sending things by mail in G+ days where you had to basically private message people. But now you can just private message me, everybody. Email me anytime. I always respond. So a little bit of a holiday gift guide. First of all, there's a big selection there of, so it kind of depends on what you want. You know, do you want sci-fi? Do you want classical fantasy? Do you want a real indie role-playing game experience? There's a ton, but I would recommend we sell Ultraviolet Glasslands, which is, you know, UVG for Luca's project, and that's kind of, if you're into like psychedelic role-playing game, it's almost like a Oregon Trail mixed with drugs. So if you're into that, come on down. You know, if you listen to a lot of stoner metal and you're ready to rock to brightly colored little pictures that are beautiful, Luca made a really fabulous book, and the soft cover is coming out, a budgetary option, which is really nice. And if you're looking for something a little bit more traditional, like in traditional fantasy, we have Necrotic Gnome, which is very famously now Old School Essentials, which is a BX clone, for the world's most famous tabletop role-playing game.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But that's a great system and a very clean, usable system. Probably one of the finest retro clones I've ever seen, and a really great example of the OSR. And if you're looking to get a little bit more funky with it, we also have Troika from Melsonian Arts Council, from our friends across the pond. Just because they're British, don't hold that against them. I love you, Dan. If you're listening, probably not. But they make really great stuff, and it's super, super functional and really great at a table because it's really malleable. You can use it for just about anything and great on the fly. And then I have a million other things in there, just almost catered to whatever you want to try. We have story games. We have your very, very crunchy games. We have all-in-one games, whatever you need. It's a very trying time. So come on down and try any of them. And a lot of them are going to be on sale too. I guess that's time to plug this as well. We'll have 40% off all zines. So this way, if you wanted to try something or you've been kind of hemming and hawing, and you didn't want to dip your toe in because maybe you're like, $15 for a pamphlet. Good Lord, this way, come on down and try it. This way you can get something new, get something different, and support a lot of independent creators. And the biggest thing I wanted to do is show off as many independent creators out there. They make a lot of really cool stuff. And then we'll have 25% off store-wide on all items, including some much needed restocks and some specialty items that I've been holding all year long. I kind of do that. And then we'll also have some exclusive merch. I always do that on Black Friday because I like to cry and, organize everything as painfully as possible on the most busy day of the year. But that's what I'll do. So there'll be a whole bunch of stuff and big discounts, and the zine stuff is what I really want people to try. Like, if you have any trepidation about something, this is the time to try something. And again, this helps support a lot of independent creators, people that have some of the best game systems or best mechanics or best ideas out there, but they're at their house, printing these off in their basement or, at their work printer, on the side. So, trying to sneak these games out to people. So give them a shot, give these guys a chance, and you'll find that there's a ton of really good stuff that, you might otherwise have glossed over.
Yeah, I feel like every holiday gift guide, I have a soliloquy dedicated to like Exalted Funeral, and it's nice to not have to do that and just have you come in and do it for me.
You've been very gracious. I can't believe you guys have been so supportive. I think I remember your first order, and it was like $1 million nearly.
Hey.
Yeah, it was huge.
What if my wife listens to this episode? I'll be screwed.
Ay. No.
As if she doesn't know that I spend an enormous amount of money on role-playing games.
Yeah. It's like part career, right? So
yeah.
It's like,
hey, it's a work expense.
Yeah. This all gets written off on my taxes. Should I have not said that?
Yeah, absolutely. Say that. Do that. No, I remember you had so much stuff, and it was so great. I remember having problems packing your box, like trying to get everything into it.
Well, you had so much cool stuff that I wanted.
It was amazing. And you kept doing it. And I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I'm going to reach out to this guy. As weirdly personal as I could be with stuff like that, being a small company. But thank you, longtime supporters. It's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're big fans. And obviously, you've definitely seen a lot of cool stuff that Exalt has been putting out on the feed for a very long time. And I encourage each and every one of you, if you're thinking of getting your friends something cool and interesting, something that you're definitely not just going to get picking it off a shelf, think about going over to Exalted Funeral. Think about scrolling through the pages and finding something. And listen, let's be realistic here. You're going to go and buy yourself something cool too. So this is kind of a win-win for everybody. So go buy yourself something cool, and then go buy your friends something different, also cool, but you want to play too. So it's like getting another gift, which also includes the gift of friendship, because sharing is caring. Definitely check out Exalted Funeral and pick up something cool this holiday season. Matt, thanks so much for joining us on the show today.
Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So take care, and happy holidays to you guys as well, and all your listeners.
So it's always killer talking to Matt from Exalted Funeral, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't bring in another friend of ours. We are going to introduce you to Jess. She is over at Noble Night Games, who are our sponsor. They are a great company to be partnered with, and we are always so proud to be able to tell you what they have going on. So I think in this episode, it might be better for Jess to tell you what's going on over at Noble Night. So without further ado, Jess, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you. And thanks for having us on. It's our pleasure to sponsor you as well. We're big fans of what you do.
Yay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. So now, being that the world is what it is, right? Shopping online is essentially the new normal when it comes to holiday shopping. Why don't you tell our listeners some of the cool stuff that they could find over at Noble Night Games and still be able to shop small while they're shopping online?
Absolutely. We're really fortunate to have had a very robust online presence already in place before the pandemic times hit. And now we've made some further improvements. Actually, we just updated and improved the website. It's looking really great. It's easier than ever to navigate, especially from your phone. So it's got a lot of options for you. We do have the largest selections of games in the world. So RPGs are a huge core part of what we do. You can get everything that you would be able to get in your friendly local game store from us. We are also a friendly local game store for those that are located in the Madison, Wisconsin area. But our full inventory is available online and ships very quickly. So you can skip out on the press of trying to cram into a small space this holiday season for Black Friday and still get the same deals from us. I'm especially excited about some things that we have coming fairly soon for RPGs, actually. Goodman Games is always dropping some new redos of the classic D&D modules like Castle Amber and the Lost City. I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with those.
We certainly are.
Another one coming really soon that you can get some instant gratification from, actually, right now, the Cyberpunk Red Core Rulebook from R. Talsorian. That's releasing really soon, and we participate in a cool program called Bits and Mortar. And that provides free PDF accompaniments to a lot of these great new RPG releases. So if you do pre-order Cyberpunk Red Core Rulebook from us, just let us know that you would like the PDF, give us an email, contact@noblenight.com, and we'll send you the PDF. You can have that in hand, well, virtually in hand in a matter of moments. Another reason to look at that sooner rather than later, we're actually doing a holiday sale right now. So about 700,000 plus items are on sale, and we're doing that at the deepest discounts of the year right now.
Which is amazing because you are running that all the way through Cyber Monday. So when our listeners are listening to this episode, you can get right in on that deal. No need to wait for Black Friday, especially.
Exactly. Yeah, there's just so many reasons this year to shop safely and from the comfort of your home, which is sad, for a friendly local game store. We love seeing your faces. We love having play happen in our shop. But right now, for the safety of that community that we want to still be there in the near future, we're all making a lot of accommodations to make sure that everybody can still get access to the games that they love. And as you guys can attest, a lot of people are making adjustments to make sure they can still play their RPG sessions with friends and family remotely, safely, but still get that interpersonal reaction that the games are so good at engendering in our community.
So I'm going to ambush you with a question. I can't help it. You just said that there's like over 700,000 items on sale. And I'm sure that means that there's more than 700,000 items in your warehouse. What's the weirdest thing you've encountered while working at Noble Night?
Ooh.
I need to know.
Well, anecdotally, just this week, we found in a lot of collective items that we had purchased from a collector. He had a lot of cool vintage games and miniatures, but he had also been collecting other items. And we found a box of Star Wars cereal. We will not be selling that for the safety of all of our customers. We do not sell expired food products, but a very interesting vintage box of cereal. That was just this last week. We've also come across some very sharp decorative daggers.
Wow.
Yeah, I have one hanging in my office. It's lovely. It's in a jade sheath. I don't feel like we should be sending that across the world to people. So we don't have licenses like that.
That's amazing. Yeah, the reason I ask is somebody over at the Unwinnable Slack posted a link to one of the things in your web store. It was just a miniature of a dead donkey. It's just like, this is one of the oddest things. And I was like, but then I was just like, there's got to be weirder. There's got to be weirder.
There really are some strange things. It's a kind of a point of pride for us, actually, that we have those things. We have the bizarre, we have the unfindable, we have the things that no one else has, because we do buy, sell, trade, which is something that's really great for our customers as well. When you get sick of something that you haven't played in years and you're yearning for that new item, you can sell it to us, get some store credit, or just cash in your pocket. get the newest, latest, greatest, or get that other vintage old collectible that you've had your eyes on because someone else has turned in something that they're no longer using that you've been hoping to lay hands on for years. So it's really amazing the kind of things that come and go through our warehouse. I'll have to keep my eyes out for more strange things. I do come across things on our website even that I've never seen before almost daily.
Yes, please take advantage of Noble Knight's amazing trade-in program, but please do not send Jess your cursed objects for trade-in.
No cereal.
We did have a really cool Cthulhu amulet that I displayed in the store with a little warning about this may or may not be cursed. It just, be careful. It's really lovely. I would take a cursed object if it was that pretty.
There you go.
Very cool. Jess, thank you so much for taking some time and chatting with Stu and I today. Folks, you can find everything you're looking for over at nobleknight.com, so don't be shy about hitting that button on your browser. Jess, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, so one of the most important things to me this year was being able to find board games to play, especially because I had a limited number of people that I could play them with, like my girlfriend, because it's not great right now to get together with a lot of different people. So one of the people I leaned on the most this year, who has been my absolute go-to guy for anything I needed to know about board games, was Josh Look from the It Came From the Tabletop podcast. And I thought, who better to tell you about what great games to check out this holiday season than Josh Look himself. So without further ado, Josh, how's it going tonight?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on.
It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you all year, Josh, and it's been great with the games that you've turned me on to. I've had so much fun. So why don't you tell our listeners what's pretty cool for this holiday season? What game should they be playing at home?
So the way that I have kind of been playing any game this year is making sure that it plays well with as few people as possible. So I've been going to a lot of solo games and a lot of two-player games. So, any game that I want to get in return this year for a gift, I want to make sure that it plays well with two people. So those are the games that I'm going to be bringing to you guys today. So first up, a game that I know, Hambone, you're a huge fan of, Unmatched.
100%.
Yeah, Unmatched is so good. It's a fantastic two-player skirmish game by Restoration Games. It's a reworking of an older game from, I believe it's the 2000s, Star Wars Epic Duels. Star Wars Epic Duels was a game that I used to play all the time back when I would go down to the local game shop. I'd bring it in and, I'd set up a two-player game of Epic Duels while waiting for other people to free up. And it would end up being a game that we accidentally played all night. Like, it would just draw a crowd. It was a great game to watch. So Restoration Games have brought it back, and now it's better than ever. Like, they've cleaned up the rules, and it's a little bit more balanced. Star Wars Epic Duels was very wonky. So it's really great to have this game back on the shelves for people to buy. And they've really knocked it out of the park with all these different sets. You can get characters from different works of fiction. You've got the Cobble and Fog set, which is the one that I'm going to be recommending everybody check out. It's so cool. You've got Dracula, Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's just fantastic. It's so good. And then he just did Buffy. Buffy is also really fun, but I still think that Cobble and Fog is my favorite.
Yeah, Cobble and Fog is the one that Hambone was all excited about and got me interested in the game. I haven't picked it up yet, but I'm excited to.
It's so good. It's so easy to just get on the table and get it played and then play another round. Hambone and I have been playing it on Tabletop Simulator.
Oh, right.
Whenever we get it. Yeah, we've done that a few times, and it's just a blast.
And I will tell you from experience, like, the more sets that I buy, you finally get to kind of have that, like, fantasy dream match of, like, who would win in a fight. And more often than not, it's going to be Bruce Lee.
Oh, absolutely. Bruce Lee is definitely a little OP. Yeah, you can get any Unmatched set, and you can play it right out of the box. You don't need, like, a base game. The only one that you can't play out of the box is Bruce Lee because he's just a single character. But any of the other sets, the Jurassic Park one, the Robin Hood and Bigfoot set, you could just play those with two players. Yes, the classic Robin Hood and Bigfoot matchup.
Oh, man.
Another game that I'm going to recommend is Pan Am, which is by Prospero Hall, put out by Funko Games. Prospero Hall's done some really fantastic stuff over the last few years with Jaws and Horrified. But I got to say, I think Pan Am is their strongest design to date.
I find the theming on this game to be fascinating. But, like, what is this? Why are they making a game out of a defunct airline?
So it's kind of funny. There's a rule that Prospero Hall has amongst their designers, and that's that they don't put their names on the designs. They feel like if you just put it in a team environment, the egos go away and everybody just kind of works together and creates a better product for it. So we do know that the lead designer on this one was Peter Lee, who designed Lords of Waterdeep. He did the Dungeons and Dragons adventure game system games.
Okay.
And he also did Tyrants of the Underdark with a group of people on those as well, but he was a big part of those games. So he has come forward and said, I was the lead designer on Pan Am, and this is kind of his love letter to Power Grid. So what you have is, you have this great ebb and flow of like satisfying turns and then just agonizing decisions, like the whole way getting to those satisfying moments. You're building an airline in the dawn of air travel, and you're buying up these routes. You're trying to build these routes, and you put down your airports, and you have different planes that kind of cover longer distances, and you get more income that way. But you have Pan Am as sort of an AI that every turn they're going to buy up routes, and you're trying to balance getting the most out of your routes, trying to let them collect as much as they can. But at the same time, you're trying to get yourself in the way of Pan Am so that you get bought out, and Pan Am will pay you a huge amount of money, which then you use to buy stocks. It's kind of a dry theming to some people.
But Power Grid is my favorite. So this sounds like so good.
Yeah, it's kind of like a family level Power Grid. Like this game kind of reaches for folks that are hardcore board gamers. Like they'll have a good time at the table, but you can also play this with your family if they've ever played Monopoly, right? Like it's really not complicated. I think it's my favorite game to come out of 2020. The last game I want to recommend to folks, and this one is based on a huge game, and that is Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. This year, they put out a smaller Gloomhaven because Gloomhaven, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's enormous. Like, you could fit a small person in that box.
Squeeze my kid in there.
Yeah, it's altogether too much stuff. And they really narrowed it down to just the essentials. And I think it's a better game than the original Gloomhaven. They really did a better job on all of the scenario design, and they really didn't overload you with map tiles. One of the most genius things I've ever seen in a dungeon crawler is that they just put the maps in a spiral bound book. So you just kind of flip to the page that you need for your adventure, and then you put your characters on the map and put some monsters on, and you're playing Gloomhaven in just a few minutes. It's fantastic.
And it's the same basic thing as the big box, just stripped down of doodads?
Yeah, it's got fewer scenarios, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. In my opinion, Gloomhaven kind of had like a problem with too much filler. Like there's all these like grind missions that you got to go do. And it was just, I don't know, kind of ruined the game. Like I got tired of playing Gloomhaven long before it was over. And Jaws of the Lion, I didn't have that problem. It also does a better job of easing you into the rules. So if you've never played, it's really easy to just play through the first 5 missions, and they gradually give you a little bit each time, and each game is still satisfying. You finish it and you're like, I did not waste my time playing this. But it's less front loading, and that's awesome to see.
What's the price on that compared to the very expensive Gloomhaven?
Yeah, it's only $50.
Oh, there you go.
Which is totally reasonable for a board game in a box like that. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight. Why don't you tell our listeners where they can check out your podcast?
You can find It Came From the Tabletop everywhere podcasts are found.
That was easy.
That was easy.
Josh, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, folks, thanks so much for tuning in for another Vintage RPG Holiday Gift Guide episode. We're always so grateful for you listening to our show, and we hope that us bringing some of our friends to your ears helps you think about some cool stuff to maybe buy your friends this holiday season. As always, I'm coming home with that Charlie Brown Christmas moment, and that moment is to tell you that the holidays are really tough on a lot of people, so don't be shy about reaching out, especially this year. Unburn a bridge with an old friend, call a cousin you haven't talked to in a while, set up a game with some of your friends who maybe you've been missing just a little bit this year, because the true gift every holiday season is friendship. So once again, thanks for listening to the program tonight. For Stu Horvath, I'm John Hambone McGuire. May the dice always roll in your favor.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Every review helps other listeners to find us. The Vintage RPG Podcast is a ham-fisted production. Music by Dego West. Art by Schaefer Brown. If you like the podcast, you should also consider becoming a patron at patreon.com.